Hello and welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park, where the blue skies embrace us for the final round of this year's Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship. It only seems like yesterday that this year's championship started here back in March, and it's only fitting that we crown new champions in both the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes and the Matris Dampers Supersports and Am-Sport 600s at this iconic Sydney venue. We kick things off with the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, where Suzuki's Brendan McIntyre holds a narrow 12-point lead from the Yamaha of Simon Galloway, with Ducati's Ryan Yanko a further 7 points adrift in third. With double points on offer in this final round, it's anyone's championship for the taking. There's a great level of anticipation in the air for this year's final round, and Andrew Raw caught up with a number of key contenders to find out their thoughts coming into this weekend.
Yeah, very nervous, excited. Bit frustrated at times because I'm not bike fit. I haven't been riding a lot, so it's just a lot all at once. But slowly but surely, like for yesterday's events, at the end of the day yesterday, I started to feel like, okay, I'm getting back there. Just obviously I've put on weight, so my physical fitness isn't there, but my mental fitness is coming back.
Well, the bikes you can hear in the background now are the Supersport 600 warming up, so we chose to sit warm up out. One less heat cycle through the tyres, we got brand new tyres on, so we're hoping that we can throw everything at the first race and get a win.
Well, I'm second in the championship. Unfortunately, I had a crash in the first round. That put me behind the 8-ball, but I've slowly worked way back to second. We'll just see what happens today. Double points, so anything can happen.
Yeah, always with the Formula Extreme Series, it's been double points at the last round and can work for or against you. It's helped me out in the past when I've been behind, and it keeps the series alive until the very last. So I think it's a good thing.
If Brendan McIntyre is feeling nervous right now, he's definitely not showing as he edges closer to his maiden Superbike title. We're getting ready for the first race on our Sunday program over 8 laps, so let's have a look at how they grid up. So we had McMartin, Croker and Yanko on row 1, Galloway, Swallow and McIntyre on row 2. Griffith, Hasler and Beaton on row 3. The fourth row is occupied by Yanni Shaw, Dominic De Leon and Michael Edwards, with Hamish McMurray, Stephen Rossini and William Stewart rounding up the fifth and final row. So who will get the clear jump off the start line? Will it be McMartin off the front row, or can Galloway or McIntyre rocket up to the front off row 2? We're about to find out. Well, there you go. We've got a couple of riders that are vacant on that grid. I think you'll find that Max Croker was not there. Of course, he fell off yesterday. Unfortunately, the Suzuki rider on the Matt Mladen Motorcycles machine was unable to take his place on the grid for this one. Down into bikebiz.com.au for the first time, and Ryan Yanko it is that has a fairly commanding lead over Simon Galloway in second place. Brendan McIntyre in third, trying to get cheekily around the outside there. In turn 2 was Tim Griffith. Yanni Shaw on that 333 Kawasaki, an older machine, doing a great job up there in fifth placing. The almighty, all-conquering Irving Vincent of Bo Beaton in sixth place. Dean Hasler, Dominic De Leon, Stephen Rossini, Craig McMartin uncharacteristically back in 10th place. Hamish McMurray and Edwards rounds up the 12 runners at the moment.
So through Matris Dampers, and you can see the distinguishing looking orange machine of Yanni Shaw. But it is Ryan Yanko on 182 who leads him around the back of Shock Treatment Hill for the first time. Galloway is in second place. McIntyre is third. Now, they're the two that are fighting it out for the championship. At this stage, McIntyre is just 12 points in front of Simon Galloway as they head down through Races World and they head over towards Shark Leathers and Dunlop to start the run down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. Yesterday, they were only separated at the beginning of this weekend's final round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbike category by 12 points. Yesterday they each scored 106 points, so it's condition normal. It's almost like, forget about yesterday, it's right. Really on in earnest today. Yanni Shaw there just ahead of Dean Hasler, or is that Tim Griffith? Tim Griffith. Yep. So he's moved himself now up into fourth placing on board machine 333, the Select Fresh providers. Andrews Meats Industries Kawasaki ZX-10R. It has a fair bit of age about it, that bike. As we take a look at a replay of the start, you can see how McMartin was left high and dry as his Ducati failed to fire up when they got underway. This allowed Yanko to clear away into turn 1 with a clear advantage as Galloway jumps to second, followed by McIntyre, who settled down in third place. Galloway just getting away a little bit from McIntyre. As he said, Lance just balked himself a little bit, and McIntyre's now got to really put the head down and tail up and try and close this gap down as they head up through Matris Dampers and then around the back of Shock Treatment Hill. He's closed, McIntyre's closing in. The next one through is Yanni Shaw. Then Craig McMartin, starting from the rear of the grid, is now up into 5th position.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of pressure onto the back of Yanni Shaw. On board that Ducati is, of course, Craig McMartin, the Panigale V4. He gets up the inside of Yanni Shaw and says, "Move out of the way, you young whippersnapper. I may have a few more years on you, but I've got the experience and I love turn 9.
It certainly does, down through races.world. And there is McMartin now in front of Yanni Shaw. Yanko's still the race leader by 2 seconds. Galloway is there in 2nd and McIntyre is 3rd.
Ryan Yanko, the Forsyth Contractors, Better Pork Kabuto, 5 gloves Ducati, 12.99, doing a great job out in front at the moment. He now has a 2-second lead over this battle for second between Simon Galloway and Brendan McIntyre. A little further back, Yanni Shaw, Craig McMartin, Tim Griffith, Hasler, Beaton, De Leon, Rossini, Edwards and McMurray round up your 12 runners. And just as we say that, look at McIntyre shooting past Galloway up into 2nd place, which will no doubt help his point situation as the battle for the championship rages on. So, as they continue their battle for second, here's a replay of the bold move by McMartin on Yanni Shaw at races.world 1 lap ago. And here's another look on how McIntyre slipped past Galloway for second at bikebiz.com.au turn 2. It was Galloway who went wide on the exit of turn 1, allowing the Suzuki rider to roar past him.
Here comes McMartin on Galloway, not quite down there through turn 1, but now sweeps around the outside. Lance, has he got the drive? He's trying to get on the inside, I think, but Galloway, nicely done by Simon, covers his line, but McMartin around the outside.
Look at the brakes on that Ducati. You just can't do that round the outside. Craig McMartin up into 3rd place with a very bold manoeuvre round the outside of the Chris Watson Motorcycles. Yamaha R1 of Simon Galloway now has his sights set on the Western Motorcycles Sydney, Rick Popjoy Racing 7 Friday Suzuki GSXR of series leader Brendan McIntyre. He gets up the inside of him in turn 5 Dunlop. No, he doesn't. McIntyre maintains control and race pace and position. He's still in 2nd. 3rd is McMartin and 4th Galloway, shaking his head saying, "Wow, what a manoeuvre from McMartin down in bikebiz.com.au.
All of Craig McMartin's years of experience came to the fore in that passing manoeuvre, Lance. He did it safely, he did it perfectly, and as I say, his years of experience will pull that off for him. Lesser riders would have ended up in the track sunny side up.
Yes, absolutely. He dared to tread where only angels fear to dare, on the outside with all the rubble in a hardest braking corner, or one of the hardest braking corners in Australian motorcycle sport. The Yamaha R1 of the Chris Watson Motorcycles mounted Simon Galloway. You can see the championship points slipping away from him here, although McMartin's going to do him a favour if he can get in front of McIntyre as they head down the end of the main straight through turn 1 for the final lap. Here comes that Ducati, good under brakes.
Not this time.
I don't think so. No. Gets good drive out of bikebiz.com.au initially, but McIntyre has extended that gap by another half a bike length. That's all he needs to do. It's very important for his championship points and aspiration to finish ahead of McMartin. He doesn't want McMartin to finish ahead of him because Galloway would then benefit from that in terms of a lesser distance in difference in the points.
Up to Matris and McMartin stalking McIntyre as they come around the back of Shock Treatment Hill down towards races.world, down round the back of Shock Treatment Hill. McMartin tries an outside line. McIntyre covers his line, keeps it nice and tight on the run through races.world down the short straight. Lance, Simon Galloway running out of race distance, and Craig McMartin also looking good there in third position.
But it's not taking anything away from Ryan Yanko on the Forsyth Contractors, Better Pork Kabuto 5 gloves, Ducati 12.99. He's going to take another victory here this weekend as part and parcel of round 4 of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. Brendan McIntyre does well to finish in second on board the Western Motorcycles Sydney 7 Friday Rick Pobjoy Racing Suzuki GSX R1000, and with the Ducati of Craig McMartin faltering at the last hurdle, that has allowed Simon Galloway on the Chris Watson Motorcycles Yamaha R1 to finish in 3rd placing. So championship leader ahead of championship second in 2nd and 3rd placing respectively. Well, here we go with the official race results. Ryan Yanko on that 12.99 Ducati ahead of Brendan McIntyre Suzuki GSX R1000, and Simon Galloway on the Yamaha R1, followed home by an ailing Ducati V4 of Craig McMartin, with Yanni Shaw on the older Kawasaki ZX-10R finishing in P5. They were followed home by Dean Hasler, Tim Griffith, Bo Beaton, Dominic De Leon and Hamish McMurray rounding up your top 10.
Yeah, what a race. Well, we got the start, got the hole shot, and I could hear the guys behind me. Just put my head down, got the job done, and after yesterday's dramas that we had, it's a good bonus to the weekend to come out on top.
We still have plenty more racing to come here at Sydney Motorsport Park as we continue the action of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes on the other side of this break. Welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park for our final round coverage of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. One of the biggest advancements in motorcycle development in recent years is the introduction of electronically adjustable suspension. This development has created a new set of challenges for suspension experts such as Racetec's Terry Hay. He explains why to Andrew Raw.
Well, currently we're seeing a lot of electronics creep into the suspension market, particularly Ducati. They were the first to bring out electronic adjust suspension, along with BMW. That creates a greater level of convenience for the average bike rider, but it's not sophisticated enough to actually employ for racing at this point. You'll probably see in MotoGP, World Superbikes, that all of the electronics that have crept in have sort of made their way through ECU, fuel injection, traction control, but we're still using manual suspension in those arenas. So with the current level of electronic adjust suspension, it really needs to become a lot more sophisticated in order to make it ready for the racetrack and ultimate performance.
Before we get underway with the final race of the season in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, here are the highlights of the second Sunday race. Ryan Yanko had another of his lightning starts as he bolted into the lead ahead of McIntyre, Shaw and Galloway, who was a little slow off the start line this time round. But making a real corker of a start was Craig McMartin, who worked his way up into the race lead on the opening lap, having started from 4th on the grid. Another rider making significant progress up the field was the Irving Vincent V-twin of Bo Beaton. He was hounding the rear wheels of Yanni Shaw and Simon Galloway during the first few laps of the race and was in a prime position to pounce should they start to falter. When they eventually broke away from the Irving Vincent, Shaw and Galloway applied plenty of pressure to McIntyre as they tried to push the Suzuki rider into making a mistake and causing a dint into his slim championship lead. All of that was to no avail in the end as McIntyre held his nerve. Whilst all that was going on, McMartin would clear away with an unassailable lead and take out the second race ahead of McIntyre by a comfortable 4 seconds. His championship chances were aided as Shaw pipped Galloway for 3rd place right on the line. So, after 4 rounds of competition, we are down to the final race of the year, where Craig McMartin will lead the field off pole position, and it's great to see the 2009 champion back in the series after a long layoff. Here we go with the starting order. Craig McMartin, Brendan McIntyre and Yanni Shaw. Row 2, Simon Galloway, Dean Hasler and Team Griffith. Row 3 sees Bo Beaton, Michael Edwards and Dominic De Leon, with Hamish McMurray, Ryan Yanko and Stephen Rossini rounding up our 12 starters in this final 8-lap encounter for the year.
Very interesting indeed, Lance. What a way for the bikehaggle.com.au Superbike Championship to finish for the year. Down to the wire.
Down to the wire indeed. 8 laps away from crowning the 2018 Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike champion in the bikehaggle.com.au category. And Brendan McIntyre has made a flying start, but Galloway round the outside. He wants to lead them home. He wants to finish as a winner. And Brendan McIntyre now under challenge from, I think it's up the inside, Yanni Shaw, is it?
And
oh, somebody's gone too wide, too deep. Had to straighten it up.
Bo Beaton up in the second spot.
Yeah, Bo Beaton it is that's taken up the challenge. McIntyre relegated back to 5th in all amongst that, mate.
Now he's got some work to do, Lance.
He certainly does.
Let's see what he can do.
Galloway, Beaton, Shaw, Hasler, McIntyre, Yanko, De Leon, Edwards, Griffith, McMurray and Craig McMartin it must have been that went off high, wide and handsome there, outbreaking himself.
Bo Beaton's taken the lead from Galloway, Yanni Shaw, then Hasler, then McIntyre.
Oh, this is no good. Oh, can you imagine Ken and Barry Horner down pit side? They'll be beside themselves if the Irving Vincent takes out the final race of the year. Look at that Valentino Rossi style. Well, I guess it's every MotoGP rider style now. The right leg out on Bo Beaton. He's got the bit between the teeth. The Horner brothers have got this percolating at perfect performance at the moment for Bo Beaton. Look at him.
Pushing hard, isn't he, Galloway?
He certainly is.
Brendan McIntyre's gone back another spot.
Yeah, he's
Yanko
back
got
into
past
6th.
him.
Yanko got past him. Yanni Shaw up into 3rd. It still could be enough for him to take out the championship. As I said, about 30 points separating them. He doesn't need to win the race. He doesn't even need to finish in front of our race leader, Simon Galloway. Not what's happened there to Bo Beaton. Oh, rider off. Is that McIntyre? My goodness me, there's 2 riders that have been taken out there by the looks of it. This will be a red flag, no doubt, as it looks like it was Tim Griffith aboard his Kawasaki, and I think the Yamaha of Michael Edwards involved in that crash. Well, riders are slowing down now, aware that we've had an incident, so they'll head back to the pits and ready themselves for a full race restart. My goodness gracious me, that was a lucky one for both riders. The good news is, by the looks of it, that they're both up and about, so that is great to see. So let's have a look at what exactly happened at turn 1 as the field went through line astern. You can see that the rear wheel of Edwards' Yamaha had suddenly locked up and threw him off his mount and into the path of Griffith, who was just minding his own business, unfortunately. As we said, both riders are up and about, but it has brought their weekend to an unfortunate end. The bikehaggle.com.au Superbike final race of the season. Who will it be that gets a whole shot? Oh boy, it looked like Craig McMartin there. Stalled it at the start line, rather uncharacteristically from Mr. Ducati himself. So Brendan McIntyre it was that got the whole shot, but not for long. Here's Simon Galloway, and I think you'll find that's Yanni Shaw back in 3rd place now.
McIntyre's gone back 3-4 places that time through bikebiz.com.au.
Ryan Yanko, I think it is, that's up into 2nd place at this stage. Up over bikehaggle.com.au for the run down into Dunlop.
Now, where does this put the championship at the moment, Lance? We've still got 7.5 laps to go.
Yeah,
Here comes Craig McMartin at the tail end of the field.
This will be interesting to see how determined McMartin is to make up for his mistake early on in this race.
Yes. Now, is Brendan just sitting back there, picking up points? He would be probably going through his mind now of how many points there is up for grabs. Let's see if he moves up a couple of spots. I'm sure he will. He's right on the back of Yanni Shaw. But it is Simon Galloway, Ryan Yanko, Yanni Shaw, Bo Beaton, Brendan McIntyre, and then Dominic Leon.
Look at Yanko right up onto the rear of Simon Galloway, and here comes Bo Beaton. He was leading early on in the first asking of this race on that almighty, all-conquering Irvin Vincent.
No, Galloway's lead. In behind him is Ryan Yanko. Then it is Yanni Shaw. Then it is Brendan McIntyre. Both of those riders have been able to outpower Bo Beaton down the Hi-Tec Oil Straight, although Beaton goes around the outside again of number 2, Brendan McIntyre, on the run into bikebiz.com.au. So it's Galloway, Yanko, Shaw, Beaton, McIntyre.
Out of turn 4 they come now for the run up to turn 5. Dunlop is the area it's known as. Bo Beaton up onto the rear of Yanni Shaw. Likewise, look at Ryan Yanko taking up the challenge to Simon Galloway. Up into Matris Dampers they go. The left-hander that leads for the long, swooping left-hand run around Shock Treatment Hill. Let's have a look back at the race start from the BMW of Dean Hasler, who usually launches off the start line quite quickly. In this instance, he got swamped by Dominic de Leon and a few others as they negotiated turn 1 at the end of the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. But getting another blinding start was Bo Beaton, who made a number of places up by going around the outside of his rivals at turns 1 and again in turn 2, including Brendan McIntyre, who is taking a cautious approach in his final race of the year. Look at the body language from Craig McMartin. He means business in no uncertain terms. Yanni Shaw, in the meantime, could do a big favour to Brendan McIntyre if he overtakes Simon Galloway on the Chris Watson Motorcycles Yamaha R1.
McIntyre's got a good chance of getting past Yanni Shaw as well.
Yeah, right behind him, the Western Motorcycles Sydney 7 Friday, Rick Popjoy Racing, Suzuki GSX-R of champion-elect Brendan McIntyre, back there in 4th place. He won't be that worried about not finishing on the podium. As long as he doesn't finish any further back than what he is now, he should take a comfortable championship victory.
Galloway on screen at the moment out of Shark Leathers. Tucked in behind him is Yanni Shaw, then Brendan McIntyre. They're battling it out for 3rd place on the podium. Yanko has been and gone. Craig McMartin has now cut that lead down to 1.5 seconds with just 2 laps to go.
Here comes McIntyre up the inside of Shaw. In the meantime, Shaw is trying to get up the inside of Galloway. He can't do it. Neither of them can. Here comes Yanni Shaw. Gets a better drive out of turn 1. Under brakes down into bikebiz.com.au. Simon Galloway now relegated back to 4th place. Yanko, McMartin, Galloway in 4th, Shaw in 3rd, McIntyre in 5th. The championship on the line between 4th and 5th placing. Sorry, yes, between 4th and 5th placing.
Yep. Here comes Craig McMartin now getting onto the very close to the back of Ryan Yanko's machine as they will get the checkered flag. This, not the checkered flag, sorry, the last lap board this time around as they come down through Matris. It is all going a little wide as Yanko. I think Yanko and McMartin, you'll certainly hear him there, Lance.
He certainly will. He'll know that he's right up onto the rear exhaust of Ryan Yanko. Out of turn 9 for the rundownraces.com for the second last time. Ryan Yanko, all amounts of pressure being applied to him by Craig McMartin, who, remember, 7 laps ago when they go over the strike line, he started the race stalling the bike.
He did. Left at the start line. Hi-Tec Oils main straight now. He's getting close to the slipstream. Not cool. Yes, he is. He's in the slipstream now. He switches to the inside. Can he go into the race lead? Round the outside goes Yanko. McMartin on the inside. Yanko switches to the inside, but McMartin's got the brake. He'll hold the line down through bikebiz.com.au.
Ducati against Ducati.
Yeah. Both of them.
McMartin gets a little bit out of shape, so too did Ryan Yanko trying to chase him down. Not a bad effort for Craig McMartin.
Amazing effort, Lance, isn't it? Yanko not giving up though as they come down into Dunlop, heading up towards Matris Dampers. This is the last lap. Yanko, gee, they're pushing
over the rise down into the left-hander Ryan Yanko. He doesn't want to give this race victory up. A cheeky look over the right shoulder there from Craig McMartin saying, catch me if you can. I've come from dead last after stalling at the start line. Now I'm leading the race with only 4 corners to go. Through turn 9, Race Tech out of there on races.com, down the main straight. Look at the body language, the balance of the body being required by Craig McMartin through turn 10 into 11 and 12. It's the 27, the Ducati Panigale of Craig McMartin. It's going to be a Ducati horsepower race down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight for the final time of the season. Craig McMartin from dead last to first as the checkered flag waves. Ryan Yanko in second. Yanni Shaw, another very creditable third placing. Brendan McIntyre finishes ahead of Simon Galloway, therefore securing the 2018 bikehaggle.com.au Superbike Championship as part of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. Great way to finish the premier category.
It certainly was. Bikehaggle.com.au Superbike. Craig McMartin, congratulations to him. Stalled it and would have spotted them probably half the length of the straight. The start-finish line here is about halfway down the Hi-Tec Oils straight.
Yeah, 1,000 metres long is the straight. About 500 metres of it taken up by where the start line, finish line area is. Craig McMartin coming back through turn 4, past one of our hard-working officials there, Kenny, who's been doing a great job, not only throughout this race meeting, but throughout the entire season.
Seems to be his favourite spot, Lance. You see him there at every meeting.
Yes, we do.
It's got his name on it, that marshalling point.
That area of the track has been fossilised by Kenny.
I think we're going to see a nice little bit of a burnout here by Brendan McIntyre.
No, it's Dominic De Leon in the At1 Pro Race suits. Kawasaki ZX-10R. So Craig McMartin takes out the final race win of the year ahead of Ryan Yanko, making it a Ducati 1-2. Yanni Shaw caps off an impressive weekend with third place aboard his Kawasaki, whilst a fourth place finish is enough for Brendan McIntyre to wrap up the bikehaggle.com.au Superbike Championship for 2018.
Well, congratulations, Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike champion for 2018. Will you be back to defend your title?
We'll see what our plans are for next year. This year knocked us around a fair bit with budget, so we'll see what we can pull together for next year and where we land.
Final thoughts as 2018 champion?
Yeah, look, it'll take a bit to sink in, but that trophy has meant a lot for many, many years, and it's been a coveted thing, and I always, from a young bloke, had my eye on it, and to finally get it, yeah, it's pretty special.
We now move on to the final stars of tomorrow's standalone race for the 2018 season, which is open to all C and D grade riders in the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. We've had a number of different winners in this unique race format throughout the season, and the level of talent that we have seen emerge has been impressive. You can see on the race grid that we have 7 rows of riders ready to take to the start, and any one of them has equal opportunity to take the race win as we get ready for the race start. Race 2 of the weekend, and their only standalone encounter on the Sunday program. Down the end of the Hi-Tec Oils main straight through turn number 1, and I think you'll find it's Tim Griffith that leads them down into bikebiz.com.au for the first time.
Yes, doing a good job out there in front. McMurray and Pellegrin following him through in second and third. Rossini is through there in fourth, Lynch is fifth, and Dunlop is sixth. But they head up out of bikebiz.com.au and over to bikehaggle.com.au. And it is Griffith leading just from Hamish McMurray and Pellegrin in third.
Through turns 4 and 5, Dunlop, of course, as it's known, out of there, the rise up over the top, the back of Shock Treatment Hill into Matris Dampers. Tim Griffith doing a good job to still continue to lead Hamish McMurray.
So out of Matris and around the back of that Shock Treatment Hill, the lead still being held by McMurray. He is 0.3 of a second in front of Hamish McMurray. As you can see, there's nothing in it between the top 3 as they head down into races.world. The sharp right-hander at turn 9, head down the races.world short back straight and head into Shark Leathers, and that takes them on to the run down the main Hi-Tec straight, Hi-Tec Oil straight.
This front 3 runners have broken away a little bit from Stephen Rossini in 4th place, followed by Lynch, Dunlop, Appleby, Graham, Anderson and Kilner rounding up your top 10. But the battles are not just restricted to the front of the pack, are they, Dave? You can see as the bikes stream down the 1,000 metre, 1 kilometre long Hi-Tec Oils main straight. So let's go back to the race start and jump on board with Kawasaki's Adrian Pellegrin. He got away to a fairly ordinary start at first, but once he started to build momentum, he quickly worked his way up to third as Tim Griffith quickly roars into the race lead aboard his similarly mounted Kawasaki. They're on lap 4 of 6, so we're at 2/3 race distance, so there's still plenty of time for Pellegrin to keep applying the pressure on Tim Griffith in front of him.
Yes, down into bikebiz.com.au.
Going
wide was Griffin Lance, yes. Almost left the door open or ajar, but Pellegrin just couldn't quite make a good fist of that. Just has to settle back there into second spot as they come over bikehaggle.com.au and down into Dunlop. It is still Griffith leading from Pellegrin and McMurray. And I did notice Lance that last lap coming out of Shark Leathers before they took the run down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. McMurray's bike wiggling quite noticeably as he really tried to get the power on a little bit too early, and the back end of the bike stepped out as he started to run down the Hi-Tec Oil straight.
This battle for 6th, 7th and 8th continues between Appleby, Dunlop, Anderson and Graham is not that far behind them either, but it's all about Tim Griffith out in front at the moment. This is the stars of tomorrow, C and D grade class riders. An opportunity for them to showcase their wares not only to the trackside crowd here, but also to the world in our live stream coverage. Let's look back on the replay at how loose some of these bikes can get as they exit the final turn. Especially Hamish McMurray aboard his Kawasaki, the tail of his bike getting exceptionally loose as they plant the power down coming onto the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. Into Shark Leathers for the final time and the run to the checkered flag down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. It is all Tim Griffith doing a great job to pilot the BC Performance Tag, Avionics, Coolman Logistics, Kawasaki ZX-10R. Only marginally it will end up being ahead of the 67 of Adrian Pellegrin, also a ZX-10R. A great effort from these two. They certainly took the race right down to the wire. But it looks
Pellegrin.
like Pellegrin got it right on the wire. He managed to be able to outdraft Tim Griffith down to the checkered flag. Hamish McMurray will take third. Wow, what a turn up for the cars.
Yes.
He certainly left his best till last.
He certainly did, didn't he? Coming out of Shark Leathers for the last time, he got really top drive out of there, and that set him up for a nice draft behind our then race leader Tim Griffin, and Tim unfortunately has to be settled for second spot, but a great win there to Andrew Pellegrin. Timmy Griffith second and Hamish McMurray third.
Here are the official results. Adrian Pellegrin on his Kawasaki ZX-10R ahead of Tim Griffith, and Hamish McMurray making it a trio of Kawasaki ZX-10Rs, finishing ahead of Stephen Rossini's Yamaha R1. Chris Lynch on his Kawasaki ahead of Lee Appleby in P6. The first of the Suzuki's, Jack Dunlop in P7. 8th went to the Honda of Matt Anderson, followed home by another Yamaha of Peter Graham, and Trent Kilmer rounding up the top 10 on his Kawasaki.
One very happy chappy here. We all thought that race was done and dusted. Where did that come from?
I've got absolutely no idea. I just a little green engine that could, and just chugged and chugged, and finally pipped him on the line right at the very end. I just stalked his lines, done whatever I could just to be nice and simple and smooth, and yeah, personal best lap time. First time I've actually ridden a 1000 at a race meet, so absolutely exciting.
With the Superbike title all wrapped up, we turn our attention on the other side of this break to the Matris Dampers Supersports and Am-Sport 600s, where Callum Barker is aiming for championship glory. Thanks for joining us here at Sydney Motorsport Park as we welcome you back to our final round coverage of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship. We now turn our attention to the Matris Dampers Supersport and Am-Sport 600s, where Callum Barker holds a 97-point lead over Stephanie Redmond and a 110-point lead over Ryan Selland. The Suzuki rider needs to just finish all 3 races on the Sunday program to wrap up the title. So let's have a look at the grid for race 1. Hayden Hayes sits on pole position ahead of Stephanie Redmond and Callum Barker. whilst on row 2 we welcome back Ryan Masri, who sits alongside Brodie Maloof and Ryan Sellen. The Am-Sport 600s form up from row 4, with Jack Passfield sitting on pole alongside Andrew Edzer and Carl Kitson. Noel Mahone heads up row 5 alongside Brian Bolster and Robbie Tesoriero. Whilst on row 6 we have Matthew Franco, Mary Molina and Brooke Ernst.
As they line up in the hands of the starter, as soon as the starter lowers his red flag and walks off the grid, they are then in the hands of the starter. Red lights are displayed, and as soon as the red lights go out, racing is underway. So it's Hayes, Redmond.
Good start there from Callum Barker over on the inside, closest to the fence. Stephanie Redmond got balked a little bit there by our pole sitter Hayes as they swoop across the nose of each other in turn 1 for the run down to the turn 2, the bikebiz.com.au. Hard, tight, intense braking, somebody going extremely wide round the outside, leaning on each other. But Aidan Hayes it is that's made the best of the start as he heads out of turn 2 through bikehaggle.com.au and over the top of the downhill run into Dunlop.
Yes, it's Hayes leading. Passfield has already moved himself up into second spot. Callum Barker is back in third. Stephanie Redmond is fourth. And Brian Maloof is the next one through on machine number 28 in fifth place. They head up towards Matris Dampers. Then down the left-hander, head around the back of Shock Treatment Hill. But it's Hayes leading from Passfield and Barker.
Jack Passfield coming off row 4 effectively as our pole sitter in the Am-Sport 600s, and he's already up into second place. Look at him trying to get up the inside there of Hayes as he goes down into Race Tech for the first time. He can't do it. He takes a wider entry, a wider exit, closer to the outside of the black stuff that they need to be racing on as they head down Races.World back straight and into Shark Leathers, the double apex or triple apex, whichever side of the coin you look at it from. But it's certainly a difficult corner to get correct because you need to get that power down effectively and early for the run down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight.
Yes, and I'm looking at Stephanie Redmond and Ryan Sellen and Callum Barker. They're having a great battle there for third place as Hayes continues to lead Passfield down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight and through turn 1 and head back over towards bikebiz.com.au. Now this is where you set yourself up. Look at Passfield looking for an inside pass, trying to squeeze through.
Oh, how cheeky was that? Well done.
And also, Lancey managed to hold a tight line too. Normally when a rider does that inside pass, it forces himself wide, and the rider that he's just passed managed to repass him. But congratulations, Jack Passfield.
And speaking of Jack, we go on board with him as we look back at the race start where Aidan Hayes managed to jump ahead of Barker and Redmond in the opening stages of this race. Passfield, meanwhile, just rocketed away from his Am-Sport 600 opposition to take up fourth place by turn 1 before passing Redmond for third at bikebiz.com.au turn 2. Oh, who was that trying to get up there? Ryan Masri.
Yeah, that was Masri on 96.
Yeah, and now it looks like Redmond coming back up the inside. Oh, look at that. She gives him a little bit of a head shake there. So use your head, young fella. I think he just went in a little bit too deep and a little bit exuberant. Of course, remembering that's a slightly older model bike.
Yep. Good on Stephanie. Takes no business, does she?
No, I don't know whether that was for Ryan Sellen or Ryan Masri, was it?
Might have been for both of them.
Anyway, the name is Ryan. There's no doubt about that. And Stephanie's not happy about it.
No, she was not.
That was a brave move by Sellen to force his way past Redmond at Races.World. Let's have a look at it again on the replay. Sellen actually had the line and momentum to pass Redmond, but carried a little bit too much speed into the corner. And this meant that Redmond had to back out slightly as she tipped it in and, in turn, walked Ryan Masri in the process. No wonder she's not a happy lady about it at all.
Down the Hi-Tec Oil main straight, nothing in it in speed. This time Passfield gets a toe down the straight. Can he go on with it down through the Hi-Tec Oils turn 1? He can. He gets the inside line, so he goes back into the race lead as they go down the through the Hi-Tec Oils. Oh, on the inside is Hayes. Has he got enough of a gap there to get through?
He got the drive on the inside, but wasn't able to maintain that momentum down into the braking area of bikebiz.com.au. But look how close they are.
Passfield defended his line very, very well there through bikebiz.com.au. Now down the hill at bikehaggle.com.au. It's Jack Passfield who's gone back into the race lead from Aidan Hayes, then Callum Barker, Stephanie Redmond, Ryan Sellen. But Passfield, now he's out in front, Lance, starting to stretch it out just a little bit. Let's see if Hayes can come back at him as they come down through Matris Dampers, come down through the left hand, around the back of Shock Treatment Hill and down into races.world.
I think we've seen this before, Dave.
Yes,
Yesterday in all three races.
So. Yes, I think so, Lance. It was just as entertaining then as it is now.
It certainly was, as they negotiate the Shock Treatment Hill down into races.world. The start of that back straight, Callum Barker still maintaining that slender lead over Stephanie Redmond for the final podium position. And right behind her, Ryan Sellen getting out of the saddle, getting onto the gas a little bit early. Down races.world and into Shark Leathers they come.
Yes, Callum Barker now into Shark Leathers, heading down towards the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. They will get the last lap board this time through. Very, very interesting to see whether Ryan Sellen's just holding a little bit back, perhaps, over Redmond and Barker. But as they head down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight, there's not much in it in speed, is there, Lance? It's all a drafting proposition now. As Passfield now on the inside as Hayes, as he got the line through bikebiz.com.au. Oh, he had, but Passfield almost high-sided himself off the bike then.
Well, he tried to do the classic switchback there, but Aidan Hayes covered his line very well, just maintained his racing line. And unfortunately for Passfield, he had to bang on the front brake a little bit harder than he wanted to, sat himself upright. That may be all she sang from here on in. Here's another look at it from Passfield's perspective, as Hayes managed to push his way past at Bikebiz turn 2, and that kind of upset Passfield's rhythm slightly, as Hayes quickly opened up a small gap to consolidate his lead.
Through races.world, now they go down the short straight. Passfield on the inside, can't get through. Hayes defending his line very, very well as they come around the last right-hander and into Shark Leathers. Lance, Hayes, has he got enough?
Well, Jack Passfield is trying very hard indeed. It's all going to be a horsepower, a drag race down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. Out of the saddle, Hayes. He's done it. He tried too hard. The pressure from Passfield has paid off, and Passfield's going to take it out by a narrow margin ahead of Aidan Hayes. Well done to him. He just consistently put that pressure on. Third place is not over and done with yet. Here comes Stephanie Redmond. She drafts Callum Barker, who is it? Redmond gets it. She gets another podium ahead of Callum Barker. Oh, bad luck for Barker, good luck for Redmond, and Ryan Sellen. All he can do is sit back behind them and shake his head. Ryan Masri, a great effort in 6th.
That was great finishes for first and second, and great finishes for third and fourth as well, as Passfield takes the win out.
Well, let's have a look at the official results there. I'm going to have a Panadol and take some Ventolin, I think. Jack Passfield ahead of Aidan Hayes by a narrow margin of 0.2 seconds. Stephanie Redmond only 0.03 seconds ahead of Callum Barker for third and fourth respectively.
Yeah, it was an awesome race out there. Really good battle with Jack, and just made a mistake at the end there, and he got me back, but it was well worth the battle. It was awesome.
The championship is wide open in this final day of racing.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, we're just out there having fun no matter what we are in the championship. You know, it's just good to be out there.
This is the second encounter of the day for the Matris Dampers Supersport and Am-Sport 600, proudly brought to you by Matris Dampers. So here's a grid for race 2. The front row consists of Aidan Hayes, Stephanie Redmond and Callum Barker. Whilst on row 2, we have the two Ryans in Sellen and Masri, as well as Brodie Maloof. With the third row left vacant, Jack Passfield leads the Am-Sport 600 field off row 4, with Robbie Tesoriero and Andrew Edzer alongside him. Row 5 sees Matthew Franco, Noel Mahone and Carl Kitson together, and row 6 is occupied by Brian Bolster, Brooke Ernst and Brad Small.
So they're set to go. This is the Matris Dampers Supersport and Am-Sport 600s. Look for Passfield. There's Hayes getting away to a good start.
Callum Barker up into second, Stephanie Redmond third, but it is Aidan Hayes that leads the field down into turn 1.
Coming down into bikebiz.com.au. Barker up into second now, trying to find a way down the inside of Hayes. Redmond is third, Passfield is fourth. Just trying to get up past Stephanie Redmond.
Reminding the jury of critics on the sideline that Aidan and Hayes and Barker came together yesterday. Barker coming off the worst for wears in race 1. Races 2 and 3, he borrowed Mitch Kuhn's spare Kawasaki, went out there to continue to get points up on the board for the championship. They repaired the Suzuki overnight, and he's back out there doing a great job in 2nd place. You can see Steph Redmond in 3rd, 4th place. Jack Passfield has already come up from his 4th row start and is in 4th place at the moment, with Ryan Sellen not that far behind him.
Yes, then we've got Brady Maloof, Ryan Masri, Robbie Tesseriro, Aidan Edzer, and Franco and Mahone and Kitson. As they come down into races.world, the short back straight, it is Hayes leading from Barker, Passfield and Redmond.
Yeah, Redmond doing a great job at the moment, right up onto the rear cowling of Callum Barker's Suzuki. So the addicted to track Yamaha R6 performing well at this early stage. Right into the slipstream of Callum Barker is Stephanie Redmond as they negotiate the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. She pulls to the inside, but look out right behind them. Here comes Jack Passfield. He cheekily tried to take 2 in one go there, but got his nose chopped off by Callum Barker, defending the line and trying to chase Stephanie Redmond, who's now up into 2nd place.
Let's look back at the start, and we jump on board again with Jack Passfield, who started off the 4th row and quickly roared up into 4th place by the time they reached turn 1. But once again, it was Aidan Hayes who got the whole shot off the line and cleared away into the lead ahead of Barker and Redmond as they continued their championship battle.
Stephanie Redmond on screen now at the moment, and machine number 49 around the outside is Passfield. I don't know whether that was the brightest move that he's made this weekend, Lance.
I think he just went in a little bit too hot and had to use up more of the black stuff than he would normally have done. Stephanie Redmond has a cheeky look over her left shoulder there to see how close Passfield is. She knows that he's looming up larger than life and maximises the slipstream. Gets her in turn 1. She's going to try and outdrive him down into turn 2. Take the inside line for the braking markers down into bikebiz.com.au. Unable to do that, discretion being the better part of valour, backs off. Line astern follows him out of 2 into 3. Bikehaggle.com.au over the hill and down into Dunlop.
Well, it's rather amazing to think that Passfield is so competitive on board the older spec 600 machine. So let's take a look once again at that pass. And it all started coming out of Shark Leathers, the final turn. He immediately slotted into Redmond's slipstream and carried that good pace to roar past her along the Hi-Tec Oils main straight.
3:05, that's
Andrew Edzer.
Unfortunately, pushing his bike to the side of the track offline.
Looks like that'll be the last we'll see of the Race Art Designs Kawasaki Connection ProWorks Team Kawasaki ZX6R, at least in this one.
Passfield now starting to put pressure on our leader, Aidan Hayes.
Well, here comes Passfield. He's good at slipstreaming, and he does it again. He did it on Redmond a couple of laps ago. He does it on Hayes this time. Hayes tries to do what Redmond tried to do, and more successfully. Outbreaks his, counters the challenge.
Oh, nice move.
Does it well.
Well done through bikebiz.com.au. He did well through there, Lance. Kept a good tight line. I thought he might have been in just a little bit too deep, but he proved me wrong, which is not too hard to do. But managed to take the lead back, so that was a good move from young Aidan Hayes.
Still in all, there's only less than a bike length between the two of them as they head through Dunlop for the run up over the top of the hill towards Matris Dampers, the hard 90-degree left-hander that starts the long run around Shock Treatment Hill down into Racetech, turn number 9.
Yes, down into races.world now. What I would think Hayes would be trying to do, and it's easier said than done, as Passfield tries down the inside at races.world, he would like to be probably another 4 or 5 bike lengths in front, Lance, I would think, coming down the Hi-Tec Oil straight, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that.
All he's got to do is concentrate on head down, bum up, make sure that he doesn't look back, gets maximum traction out and drive out of Shark Leathers for the run down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight and maintain that first position. Although having said that, Jack Passfield is simply superb in slipstreaming. He just gets the draft that he needs, then he pulls out at the right moment. Right on cue as he goes across the strike line and gets the run through turn 1 again.
Certainly does.
Needs to keep it tight.
Down the inside again is Hayes, but is he close enough, Lance? He's got the inside line. Can he do it again? Oh, yes, he does.
Actually blocked passes him a little bit there.
Yeah.
Sat it upright almost on purpose halfway through that one.
Now
through turn 2, and that balked Passfield momentarily.
He did now, down through the bikehaggle.com.au. He's got to try and get away from Passfield. Easier said than done, I think, as they come down through Dunlop. Passfield looks down for an inside pass. Can he get it done there? Not quite. Not quite. Coming up to Matris Dampers. Our race leader Hayes knows that if Passfield is that close to him, he will be able to outdraft him down the straight. But he's trying desperately to try and break away from Passfield if he can down through races.world.
In the background, you can see the battle for 3rd and 4th between Redmond and Barker, as then just coming into sight now. Redmond just holding off the challenges of Barker. Likewise, Hayes just holding on to off the challenges of Passfield. Out of turn 9 and down the races.com back straight into turns 10, 11 and 12.
Is he close enough, Lance? Oh, he's gone wide.
Onto the ripple strip.
Yep. Now, let's see what happens. Out of Shark Leathers, Passfield on the outside. Can he get the draft, Lance?
Looking to see he pulls to the inside now. He's left his best till last. I think Hayes has held on. He has indeed by 0.03 of a second. Here's the official results for the Am-Sport 600 and Supersport Matris Dampers Supersports 600 riders. Aidan Hayes ahead of Jack Passfield and Stephanie Redmond. P4 to Callum Barker, Ryan Masri, Ryan Sellen, Noel Mahone, Matt Franco, Brodie Maluth and Brian Bolster round up your front page.
Yeah, no, it's been really good this weekend. It's been some good battles with Aidan all weekend as well, so it's been a really fun weekend. The Pirelli tyres are working sweet. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Stay Upright for teaching me how to go around this track really well.
With Callum Barker sitting in an almost unbeatable position, all the Queenslander needed to do was just finish the final race of the season to take out the title. From the get-go, it was once again Hayes and Passfield who resumed hostilities for the race lead, and the pair were trading blows during the early stages before Passfield finally worked his way past Hayes at bikebiz.com.au on lap 2. Behind them, Barker and Redmond continued their battle for 3rd place whilst keeping in touch with the duelling pair of Hayes and Passfield ahead of them. As the race wore on, Passfield would break away into a comfortable race lead and head off to win the final race of the season and the first Am-Sport bike home, with Hayes finishing in 2nd and the first Supersport bike home. With a 3rd place finish, Callum Barker claimed the 2018 championship, capping off a tremendous season.
After the crash yesterday, got on my bike and yeah, it's going good. PB'd this morning in race 1, so you know, maybe I should just throw it down the road a little bit more often. So yeah, no, it's going good for, like I said before, standard showroom bike with a air filter, a tune and a full system. But you know, after yesterday's crash, I'm left with basically no bits. Don't even have a dash on the bike, so it's amazing the bike's even running. So yeah, this morning I walked into the pit shed and Dad got a piece of paper and a Nico pen, and it's got the tacho at the needle at 15,000, which is red line, and down the bottom it says temperature's good. So who knows what the bike's doing, but it made it in one piece, and yeah, I'm glad that I could wrap up the championship. Took to the last round. Steph pushed me down to the wire, but you know, hats off to everyone this weekend, especially Steph and Aidan. They just set the pace for everybody, including myself, so it was a good weekend.
Congratulations go out to both Brendan McIntyre and Callum Barker, our respective champions in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes and the Matris Dampers Supersports, making it a clean sweep for the Suzuki brand. But our coverage of this final round is not done just yet. We still have all the action from all of our major support categories the next time you join us here at Sydney Motorsport Park. See you then.